What up, Dodgers Nation? D-Mac here. Welcome to another episode of Designated Twitter. And on today's show, what is your concern level with the Dodgers bullpen on a scale of 1 to 10? And what can the Dodgers do to fix their bullpen issues? That's coming up. But first, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And for all latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. The Dodgers officially have a bullpen problem. And this is an organization that's had one of the best bullpens over the last 8 seasons, but that isn't the case this year. If you look at the numbers, you know I bring my facts to the fight. A 4.77 ERA, that's 26th in all of Major League Baseball. And just to give that a little context, that's up there with some of the worst bullpens in the league. You're talking about teams like the Nationals, the White Sox, the Royals, teams that are bottom feeders in this league. If you look at other numbers, they're just ugly, man. A 4.42 FIP, a 128 home runs per 9, that's 27th, a 23.5 strikeout rate, that's 21st. This team isn't missing bats. This team isn't striking out opponents. A 249 opponents batting average, that's 26 out of 30 teams. And here's the one that I have my eyes on. It's a 303 batting average on balls in play. That's 22nd out of 30. Last year, when the Dodgers had one of the best bullpens in the league, that number was at 260. That was second. Well, what's the difference this year? Well, Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers, they don't have the cheat code. You have the restriction on the shift. We know this organization utilized the shift better than any team in Major League Baseball. Well, now with the alignments, when you combine that with a bullpen that's a pitch-to-contact bullpen, it's a recipe for disaster, and we saw that on display yesterday. The Dodgers, they lose to the Cincinnati Reds despite being up 8-3, and I hear people out there, well, oh, the offense, they didn't score a run. They didn't have a hit. They had one hit after Freddie Freeman hit his grand slam. No, anytime you score 8 runs, you do your job. Anytime you give yourself a 5-run lead, you do your job. And we've seen this team rarely blow leads like that in years past. In fact, that was the largest blown lead since April 25th of 2021 when the Dodgers blew a 6-run lead to the San Diego Padres. And if you look up their record when they have a 5-run lead this year, they're 29-9. 29-9 when they've had a 5-run lead or more. Last year, that record, they were 82-4. So that is just a terrible number. And we're going to break down some more of these numbers and what the Dodgers can do to fix things with their bullpen. But first, I asked the staff here that question. What is your biggest concern on a scale of 1 to 10? What is your concern level with this Dodgers bullpen, and what can they do to fix it? And here are some of their takes.
Yeah, right now, I'm going to give it an 8. They're 26 in the league in ERA, 4.77. And right now, it is not looking good. The guys yesterday, Caleb Ferguson in particular, did not look good. You could argue he was in a bad spot. Dave Roberts put him in a bad spot. The only silver lining we have, you could say, is Evan Phillips. The way to fix it, I would say, is maybe to go out and trade for a piece. But even then, it is a little tricky to trade for a bullpen piece. But, I mean, that's all they could do, really. I mean, unless you just want to keep on rolling out the same guys. So we'll see what they do come the trade deadline.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think just seeing the last couple of games and seeing how these first 2 months of the season have gone by, I'm going to give my concern rate about between a 6 to 7. I do think that some magic can still happen, and the Dodgers can make the needed adjustments in order to improve the bullpen moving forward. But this most recent game was definitely very worrisome, seeing how Caleb Ferguson came in. And just seeing that the trade deadline is only about a couple months away, I think definitely the Dodgers are going to be actually taking phone calls, and they're going to have to continue kind of experimenting. We all knew this was going to happen this season, but as the months do loom on, it's going to get more important, and the room for error is going to be very, very small, especially when you consider that the starting pitching staff is having their own problems as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 9. I mean, we've just kind of seen all year a lot of struggles from the guys who were good last year. Brusdar Graterol hasn't been great. He's been better, but not great. NC Almonte's been horrible. Obviously, we saw what Caleb Ferguson did recently. Evan Phillips has really been the only trustworthy guy, and Dave Roberts is using him in different positions. So I think first and foremost, the Dodgers do need a true closer, whether that's trading for one or just, waiting for Daniel Hudson to come back. Obviously, Alex Reyes is going to come back. Maybe JP Feyereisen's going to come back, but this team definitely needs to make a trade because they can't wait for the injured pieces to get back like they did last year. We saw what happened when the injured guys come back and aren't the same. So I think the Dodgers have to make at least one move, maybe for a true closer, if not just for some sort of Chris Martin-like shutdown reliever, just because right now they are not in a good spot, and they're not going to be able to win playoff games with this bullpen.
So those were their fire takes, but here were your takes over on Twitter. Cheeseman tweeted, "It needs to be addressed, period." Toxic tweeted, "Two, because as much as I love the Dodgers, it's only a game. Chillax." Yes, it is only a game. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to determine whether or not they win the World Series, but still, yesterday was the Dodgers' 4th loss of the season when scoring 8+ runs. They've also lost 9 games this season when scoring 5+ runs. That's tied for the most in all of Major League Baseball. I mean, you're talking about teams like the A's, the Angels, the Royals. That is how bad a blown lead like that is. So as you can see, the Dodgers have a serious bullpen problem, and for me, it's the blown leads. To me, it's the blowing big leads. Yesterday, it was the 4th time of the season when the Dodgers had scored 8+ runs, but they also lost the game. You're tied with teams like the Oakland A's, the Angels, the Royals, the worst teams in the league. And you diagnose this problem, and I think it starts with the personnel. And I really want to slice up this blame pie right now. And if I'm slicing up this blame pie, I know that Dave Roberts, he's going to be the guy that falls on the sword. He's going to take most of the blame. And if you look at last night, it wasn't a masterclass by Dave Roberts. You send out Evan Phillips there in the 8th inning against the top of the lineup. He does his job. He makes light work of the top of that lineup on 11 pitches. You're not going to bring him back out there. But I also think, too, you have Caleb Ferguson. You bring him out there. And the fact that he has the 2 walks, he's not looking sharp out there. He's missing arm side. I think, look, if you're Dave Roberts, what is your value? Your value is you're a culture builder. You give your guys confidence. Well, how come we didn't get a mound visit? How come you didn't go out there? You're supposed to be David Goggins in a Dodgers uniform, and you can't even go out there and motivate your guys. Instead, we get 1 mound visit from Will Smith. I just think, hey, that to me is why I was upset. And then after the game, you throw Caleb Ferguson under an 18-wheeler bus. I mean, I think if you look at that, yes, he was bad. Yes, he wasn't sharp. But on the same token, I think you should have gone with Shelby Miller in that situation. But I think if I'm slicing the blame pie, I'm giving 2/3 of that blame pie to Andrew Friedman in this front office. They realized that they didn't have a true closer. They realized that Dave Roberts is not the perfect manager to have a closer by committee role. And look, let's be honest, these decisions are made in advance, and it's a collaborative decision. So I think if you're Dave Roberts in that situation, if you have a clear, defined closer, if you're going to go with Evan Phillips, yes, you definitely want to have him as your high leverage guy, and that's ultimately where he's going to be for this team. But I still think when Daniel Hudson comes back, maybe that fixes things. But until then, I think the big way to solve the problem is have Evan Phillips as your closer, because some guys just can't handle the 9th, and Caleb Ferguson is one of those guys. But let's get back to your tweets. And then Savage tweeted 8, besides Phillips, no other reliever can be trusted. And then him tweeted 7, but I don't feel this is the year to go all out and trade valuable assets for a possible playoff push. Maintain your farm system and see what we have there. Start addressing the bullpen in the off season. Look, Him, I think you bring up a great point, and kind of one of the big indicators there is we're going to find out how much this organization believes in the 2023 Dodgers by what moves they make. Do they want to take some money out of that 401k and invest in this year's team, or are they going to say, hey, we have the internal options. We're going to wait to see what Daniel Hudson looks like. We're going to wait to see what Alex Reyes looks like, what JP Fireeisen looks like, what we're going to get from Ryan Pepio and Michael Grove and some of these guys that are deeper into the rotation, or are they going to bring up some of the other guys down at the AA and AAA level at some point, or are they going to do what I suggest they should do, and that is go out and get a defined closer. Go out and make a move for a Liam Hendricks, and I think that really goes a long way into solving your problems, because in Major League Baseball now, you need guys that can miss bats. You can't have a pitch-to-contact bullpen and expect to win the World Series, and by the metrics, this is the worst Dodgers bullpen since 1958. Yes, 1958. That's how long it's been, and as it stands right now, this team won't win a World Series with the pen as currently constructed. And then for our Hornitos tweet of the week, that comes from Nick Adams, who says 13. The situational moves aren't working. Let Evan Phillips be the closer and liquidate the rest. And that comes from our friend Nick. That is our Hornitos tweet of the week. Please drink responsibly. Ding. Yeah, I do think if I had to put a number on it, I'm going 9.5. I'm going 9.5 just because Daniel Hudson is going to be back. Daniel Hudson was on his way to having a career year last year. But look, I look at Andrew Friedman. He needs to go out there and he needs to make a move. He can't penny pinch when it comes to this bullpen anymore. Look, it's different. With the expanded postseason, with high leverage relievers that can miss bats at a premium, you can't get all these low risk, high reward moves. You can't get these reclamation projects. He has to stop dumpster diving. You can't go to the junkyard and expect to find a Rolls Royce. Look, sometimes you have to go to Rodeo Drive to shop. You can't shop at the yard sale in East Hollywood where I got this t-shirt, okay? I think sometimes you have to go out there and you have to spend big if you want to win big, and I think that's just the reality of the situation. So I think the big silver lining here is that this bullpen, they've been an absolute dumpster fire, and it's been early on in the season. So they know what's going on. They know the problem. They know the fact that outside of Evan Phillips, they've been a disaster. And the only way to fix that is I think you have to go externally. To expand on that, though, it's going to take some time because right now, teams around the league, they're still competing. There's a lot of teams out there that they're telling themselves that they can still contend. So you're going to have to wait until you get to the trade deadline and then see if you can make a move. But let me know down below in the comment section on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern level with the Dodgers bullpen and what do you think they should do to fix it? Let me know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Dodger baseball all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you really want to support the channel, smash that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.